What's going on, folks? Thank you for watching. I'm going to review the first 3 episodes of Andor on Disney+. Now, I came into this very apprehensive. I have not been happy with Disney Star Wars for a while now. I am of the mindset of I was looking forward to Episode 7. It came out. I liked it. Episode 8 came out. There was a lot of excitement, and then they destroyed my life. Not really, but they did destroy Star Wars. One thing that really bugs me is when I first went to go see Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi, I left the theater thinking it was awesome. I went to work the next day. The boss asked me, "Hey, what did you think about Star Wars Episode 8? And I said, "It's awesome. It was great. I won't spoil you or anything. Don't worry about that. I would never spoil Star Wars." Eventually, I changed my mind, and it became remarkably clear that it was hot garbage. Rian Johnson ruined that movie. Everything about that movie pretty much sucked. I can't think of one single awesome thing about it. I mean, I've always liked Kylo Ren more than the rest, but anyway, I don't need to get into Star Wars Episode 8. We all know it sucked. One thing that does bug me about it quite a bit is my boss at the time is still walking around this world thinking that I love Star Wars Episode 8. That annoys me. So maybe if you're watching, I actually don't like it anymore. I'm not even sure I really did, but it was, you know, that effect that Star Wars has, at least before you realize the flaws and the bad things about it. It's a similar effect to The Phantom Menace, how you go into The Phantom Menace thinking it was great, and you see this new Star Wars thing, and this new Star Wars thing is great. And then you slowly, maybe slowly for some, but fast for others, start to realize that, wait a minute, this is not that great. However, the prequels are looking pretty good compared to the Disney trilogy, the Disney fan fiction. So, what did I think about Andor? Well, first, it doesn't quite yet feel like Star Wars. I mean, there's some Star Wars things about it, but it doesn't feel like Star Wars, and maybe that's a good thing right now. Maybe that's a good thing. And maybe this needs to be a breakaway from what we're used to with Disney Star Wars. So maybe it's a good thing it doesn't feel like that. But it is dark, it is gritty, it is just dirty, you know? It's dirty Star Wars. Especially a certain part we'll get to in a little bit. There's very little jokes. It's very adult. It's very serious. And I kind of dig it. So the general non-spoiler review is generally positive about it. It was a little bit slow at times. When it did pick up, it was interesting, and I don't have any huge complaints. I have little complaints. I have a few little things. One thing that bugged me a lot, other things that bugged me a little, one thing that just made me chuckle to myself, but overall, generally positive. So let's get into a little bit more spoilery. I don't think if I just told you what happened, like altogether right away, none of these things feel like a major spoiler that somebody would be annoyed about if I told them. But like nothing really huge happens yet, which could be a flaw. But I feel like nothing big has happened, but a bunch of little things happened, and they could be considered spoilers. If you're being real strict about spoilers, maybe stop here. Generally, I liked it. I did not hate it. A few things that kind of annoyed me, but I didn't absolutely hate it. But I didn't love it either. So I'm going to say 6 out of 10. Or maybe I'll say 3 popcorn kernels out of 5. Or I don't have a rating system. So I'm going to go with the traditional 1 to 10, and I'm going to give it a 6.5. I'll give it a 7. 7. Okay, now for a little bit more spoilery stuff. So Cassian Andor starts off in this episode, for episode 1. He goes into a bar and he's investigating something. He says to the person he's looking for, his sister. But I really don't know why he's there. Because looking for his sister? But you get the impression that his sister is Bix from later in the episode. Because there's not really sexual tension going on there, so it's probably his sister. Maybe he's making up his looking for his sister thing. But as you see later on in episode 3, he sort of gets kidnapped from the planet he was on. The planet is Kenari. And so maybe he is looking for a sister, and Bix is just somebody he met on Ferrix of the Morlana system. Maybe Bix isn't a sister, maybe Bix is a love interest that he previously had, that no longer is really a love interest, sort of friends. So maybe he is looking for his sister, but really, come to think of it, why he's there is confusing. I don't really know why he's there, because he could have been lying to that bartender / prostitute woman. Yeah, maybe, I don't know. I'm not sure why he's there, actually. So it seems that when he gets back into his hometown, which seems to be Ferrix, that there's some flashbacks about him going back to where he came from in this Kenari. I guess the planet is Kenari. And it seems like his sister is the little girl he was talking to quite a bit. And one thing about that is I'm glad that they didn't translate all their language to English on the screen, subtitles, because we totally get the idea without it being translated. We pretty much know what's going on, and the show does not handhold us and tell us what we should be thinking at this particular time. We get it with the body language and the acting, and it seems to work just fine. They see this the ship crash off in the distance. The kids, by the way, where are the parents? Where are the parents about this in this town, in this little village, in this tribe? There's no parents. What the heck happened? Anyway, they seem to be led by one of the older girls, and Aunt Cassie, is it Cassie? Casa. They call him Casa. At least his sister, presumably his sister, calls him Casa. And they go off and they go investigate this ruins, probably to scavenge and salvage anything that they can find. And in the process, the leader girl gets shot by one of the surviving crash victims of this ship. And he eventually gets kidnapped, basically, off of this planet. And maybe that's why, maybe he is looking for his sister back on Kenari. Maybe he's looking for his sister. And Bix is maybe not his sister, maybe it's a previous love interest. And then that's why you see the guy Tim get sort of jealous about it later on. So anyway, I do appreciate that they weren't translating the language, so we can figure out for ourselves based on body language and just the acting what's going on, and we totally can. I can pretty much assume that that's his sister, that's him, and they're going to salvage the ship. And there's a leader girl, because obviously she's taking the lead. It doesn't need to handhold us, and that's good. Episode 2, apparently he was born on Fest. It's a little fun callback to an expanded universe planet called Fest. Although, he was seems to be actually from this place called Kenari. And there seems to be some history about this planet that we don't really know yet, at least as far as I know. I'm not a lore expert or anything. So there seems to be a sort of history about this planet and the Empire, and Kenari people are sort of like maybe a race of outcasts in some way, somehow. And one thing it did annoy me was the first episode kind of ended abruptly, though, him just kind of walking off to go investigate this ship, and then this just sort of ended. So I'm glad maybe they even had to put all 3 episodes out at once, because this kind of like comes back to complete an arc. You know, maybe this 3-episode arc, they had to put it out there because they knew the first episode doesn't really land at the end. But you had the next episode to take right up for it, so they knew that they had to put out 3 at once. Alright, so one thing you may have noticed about this is when Stellan Skarsgård's character comes on the scene after he lands and gets off his ship, he seems to have what seems to be a lightsaber prop as a walking stick. Now, this isn't a lightsaber prop in the show, like in a Star Wars movie or a show. This seems to be a real-life lightsaber prop toy used as a prop in this show as a walking stick. Look at it. Look at it. It looks like a lightsaber. Did they think we wouldn't notice? Anyway, so he's for sure a rebel and part of the rebellion, and he's the one that eventually will recruit Cassian to the rebels. That seems pretty obvious. Who he is, I don't know. But he kind of steals the show, in my opinion. He kind of is like one of the better parts of this whole show, with the exception of the lightsaber prop, which actually converts into a single hilt sort of device without the walking stick part. But also, one interesting thing about this episode is this dude right here. This Bell guy. Bell dude has so much pride in his job. He is gonna hammer that bell at the right time, in the right way, every single day. You can rely on Bell dude. Find yourself an employee that takes as much pride in his job as Bell dude. That's all I'm gonna say about him. And also in the second episode, we get the best part of the episode, which is this part right here. Bix shows up to her friend Tim. She shows up and seems to be in the middle of the night. She takes off her shirt and proceeds to have a net Bix and chill. Yes, net Bix and chill. That's it. I'm going to find a way to make that happen. She is net Bix and chill. Star Wars? Not our usual Star Wars, which is probably good. So, by the end of the episode, we get some real action for once. We get, there's some action with the downed ship as a kid. There's some action in the beginning, but at the end there's some real action, and it seems like this town is ready to go on lockdown as soon as they get like this internal signal that they all have, and they are ready to. Well, it seems like they're ready to just defend themselves, or like at least to have put up their defenses and to close up the shops and kind of get off the streets when these pseudo-imperials come around. These corpos, I guess, is that what they're referred to? Corpos, as in like a something from the people from a corporation called Primor. I don't really know what they do, but they seem to be a Empire Light sort of organization, and this town, when the signal starts happening with the pounding of the metal, they shut down. And I feel like at the end there, they were maybe going to sort of engage them all and kind of destroy them all because they're interrupting their town. Their town is a little bit seedy, but they kind of band together when the time comes that they need it. But we didn't actually see that. Maybe that still happens, I'm not sure. But by the end, they eventually, Cassian and Stellan, whoever he is, escape on a looks like an Imperial speeder bike, but like a different variation of it, maybe a precursor to it. And they explode up a ship and like take out some of the rebels, or some of the Primor Corpos. And it's interesting though, we actually feel a little bit of sympathy for the commander, because he's like the commander of the Primor Corpos. He seems to feel some guilt about bringing his men into what ends up being killing. They end up dying because he seems to be not a very good leader, and he knows it. And it was his choice to go down there and kind of make a big thing out of this when it shouldn't have been that big a thing. And we actually see some remorse from him, and he's actually a character that has some depth, and that's pretty cool. He's not just a bad guy just to be a bad guy, not an Imperial just because the Empire is evil, you know? So that's pretty cool. So what didn't I like about this show? What didn't I like? The Netflix and chill part kind of took me out. It's not really Star Wars to have like a booty call, you know? But whatever, this is an adult show, a more adult show, and that's fine. I don't care about that. It just doesn't feel like Star Wars. And maybe that's okay. And let's see here, the whole runtime of all 3 episodes I think is too long. It could have been broken down or taken out, a good portion of it. Let's see. I do like the backstory with is Cassian's, I guess, sort of adoptive mother, Marva. I don't know what happened to his original parents. We don't know for sure that that's his sister back then that he was looking for, but I assume that he's still looking for his sister to this day, and that Marva kidnapped him and brought him to wherever it was, I guess. I assume that Marva just, kidnapped him and kept him alive for all this time, and she kind of just became his adoptive mother. I do appreciate that they are not hand-holding us about the story and leaving us to figure it out on their own a little bit. What don't I like? I don't like that it was a little bit long, but the big thing that annoyed me, and it's not a huge thing, but it's just a nitpicky thing on my part, it's an annoying thing, is this right here. This dude here, who is obviously eating what seems to be pre-war cafeteria Chinese food. There is some blue noodles that he's eaten out of this is supposed to be a Star Wars Chinese place with a package that opens up just like Chinese places that we have around on Earth, and noodles that come out of it. That's kind of a little on the nose. And this dude in the background here is obviously playing Candy Crush on his cell phone. Immersion breaking, I guess. You can have him eating noodles. They can be blue noodles, but they shouldn't be in a Chinese container from an American takeout Chinese place. Come on. That's just kind of stupid. It's stupid. But is that a major complaint? No, it's an annoying thing. It's not gonna bring me down from a 7 to a 5, but it might bring me down from an 8 to a 7 because it's stupid and they should know better. But whatever. Anyway, I generally liked it. I'm gonna stick with 7 out of 10. I'm sure there's gonna be some things that some people point out to me when I watch other reviews, that some things that I didn't notice, and maybe my opinion about it will change. Maybe it'll be better or worse. But as of right now, my initial thoughts are, from not being an expert in the directing and acting field, just me being a layman industry person, but knowing Star Wars pretty good, more than the average person, but less than the super, super crazy lore guy. Pretty good. 7 out of 10. I was expecting a lot worse because it's Disney, and Disney have ruined my life. So, thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe for more. And if you want me to review more, please tell me in the comments, and please watch the video. And if this video gets some views, then I'll review more. If it doesn't, then I'll give up and try something else with my life. So, thank you. See you later. Bye.